Hey guys, I'm Messi and welcome to this Warlords of General Rating Guide. Today we'll be taking a look at the Blast Furnace in Heroic Blackrock Foundry. These tactics also apply to the normal version. This is a 3-phase encounter in which the first 2 phases matter most. If you can deal with them efficiently, you should have no trouble with phase 3. The goal of phase 1 is to disable the 2 heat regulators on either side of the Blast Furnace. The heart of the mountain in the Blast Furnace will cast Blast regularly, dealing AoE damage. Its energy will increase over time, which decreases the cooldown of Blast, meaning if you don't get out of phase 1 quickly enough, you'll get overwhelmed. In phase 1 you'll have to deal with the mini-boss and a bunch of adds that keep spawning throughout the phase. So let's start with the engineers, which are the key to destroying the heat regulators on the sides of the Blast Furnace. The engineers will attach bombs onto random players, which will explode after 10 seconds. This explosion also deals damage to the heat regulators, and is the only way to destroy them. When a bomb is attached to you, you should use the extra action button to detonate the bomb before the timer ends. So when you get a bomb, run it over to the heat regulator and let it detonate. You'll want to kill the engineers as quickly as possible, because when they die they will also drop bombs, allowing you to speed up the process. The bombs are the most important part of the phase, so be sure to pick them up and destroy the regulators. The engineer also has a chain lightning and can repair the regulators. When they cast repair, you must interrupt them as quickly as possible. The next type of add is the Bellows Operator. These do not attack you, but instead channel loading, which will increase the energy of the heart of the mountain. Because of this, you will want to kill the operators as soon as possible when they spawn. And the final type of add is the Security Guard. These don't really do much except put defense zones on the floor. Any add standing in the zone except for the operator will get their damage taken reduced by 90%. So you will want to keep moving the adds out of these so you can keep killing them. The mini-boss Foreman Feldspar will also need to be killed. He pulses AoE damage through Hot Blooded, but you will just have to heal through that. He casts Pyroclasm on random players, and this can be interrupted. It does a medium amount of damage, and if you have spare interrupts, be sure to use them. But the most important ability that he has is called Rupture. This will put a debuff on the player, and after a couple of seconds will leave a lava-type void zone underneath them. You will want to put these off to the sides of the room so that you'll have as much room as possible for the following phases. There are a lot of abilities, but in executing the fight there's not that much that you have to do. Have the entire raid start off on the left-hand side to destroy that heat regulator first. Whenever there is an operator up on the right-hand side, have all of the ranged DPS switch to it, and once that operator is dead, go back to the other side. As a rule of thumb, use the following DPS priority: the operators, then the engineers, then the guards, and finally the foreman. Cleave as much as you can if it will increase your DPS, because the adds will keep spawning, so they do all need to die. If you fall behind on add killing, it will wipe you eventually. Once the regulator on the left hand side is dead, move your raid to the other side. When an operator spawns on the left hand side, let your ranged DPS kill that one off first. After the second heat regulator dies, you will go into phase 2. Kill off the remaining adds, and the foreman should be on low health at this point as well. But once again, for phase 1, dealing with the bombs and putting them on the regulators is the most important thing in the phase. In phase 2, 4 elementalists will spawn with shields. These will have to be removed and killed off. To remove the shield from an elementalist, you will need a slag elemental to stand on top of the elementalist. These elementals will fixate on a random player and start casting burn. Whoever it targets has to stand on top of the elementalist you want to kill. Then the elemental should be interrupted when it casts burn, so that it moves to the fixated player. Get the elemental to 1 health and it will explode, dealing damage in an 8-yard radius. This explosion will cause the elementalist's shield to be removed, and your raid should focus on the elementalist. The shield will come back within a limited time, so put your back into it as you really want to kill these elementalists in the small window of time. Once the elementalist has lost health, it will regularly get the reactive earth shield buff. This will need to be dispelled. If it's not dispelled within 8 seconds, it will heal the elementalist. This buff will continue to appear if you do not kill the elementalist within the removal of 1 shield. So if you need a second slag elemental to explode, continue dispelling the earth shield while you're working on the slag elemental. These slag elementals will revive after they've been hit by blast from the blast furnace 4 times, and more will continue to spawn, so this will act as another soft enrage mechanic. To further complicate the matter, guards will continue spawning, and you'll also have to deal with the new fire caller ads. When fire callers are up, there are 2 things you will have to deal with. First of all, cauterize wounds, which is another healing buff which can be dispelled, but the cast can and should be interrupted. Secondly, they cast volatile fire on random players, and after 10 seconds they will explode and deal damage to anyone within 8 yards. So if you get that volatile fire, move out. Again, with all this information, the phase seems complicated, but it's not. Keep the guards off of the slag elementals and the elementalists, so that their damage reduction doesn't interfere. Interrupt slag elementals and have the fixated player stand on top of an elementalist. When the slag elemental reaches 1 health and explodes, switch to the elementalist and nuke it down. Have someone dispel the earth shield, and we use the priest for that. Repeat this for all 4 elementalists. Now at the same time, interrupt the fire callers, cauterize and kill them off. And finally, if you get volatile fire, move away from the rest of the group. Once you kill off all 4 elementalists, phase 3 will start. This phase is pretty straightforward, so here's what you need to know. Start at the back of the room, as you'll need the space as the phase continues. The tanks should taunt the boss off of each other when the other tank reaches 2 stacks of the heat debuff. Heat will deal more and more damage due to the tempered debuff, which acts as a soft enrage. The ranged players will have to deal with the melt debuff. Melt will cause a puddle of lava to spawn beneath the player after 6 seconds. This puddle will continue to grow indefinitely, which means that your raid will have to continue moving forward through the entire room. When a player gets this debuff, they should move it into the back of the room as much as possible. Obviously don't stand in already existing melts, but continue using the room properly. Call out to your tanks over Ventrilo when they need to move forward when you start to run out of space. You will want to save heroism for phase 3 and kill the heart of the mountain. If any ads from phase 2 are still up, so the guards or the fire callers, kill these off first. There are a lot of abilities to deal with over the course of this encounter, but in execution the fight is a lot simpler than it would first appear. It might take you some pulls though, so good luck. Just take it phase by phase and you'll get there. If you liked this raiding guide, please comment, subscribe and click on the like button. If you would like to keep up with when new videos come out, but you don't have a YouTube account, you can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook at twitter.com/bbmezzy or facebook.com/wowweekly. Also be sure to check out our website wowweekly.net, where you can find written content as well. For now, I'm Mezzy, and I'll see you again next time.